All right, let's get right into it. Today we are talking about a topic that is, no joke, one of the most powerful tools in any developer's arsenal: caching. Seriously, if you want to build software that's fast, that can scale, and that doesn't cost a fortune to run, you need to master caching. It's not just a nice to have, it's your biggest performance superpower.
So let me ask you this, and I bet a lot of you have been here before. You've tuned your code, you've added all the right indexes to your database, but under any real load, things just grind to a halt. You're probably asking yourself, is my database the bottleneck? And for a huge number of apps out there, the answer is a resounding yes. But the good news is, caching is how you break that bottleneck wide open.
And just look at the difference here. I mean, it's night and day. A round trip to your database might take 200 milliseconds. And that feels pretty quick in isolation. But fetching that exact same piece of data from a cache, 2 milliseconds. That is a 100 times improvement. Now imagine that happening thousands or even millions of times a minute. The impact is it's absolutely massive.
So what do you really get from all that speed? Well, it boils down to 3 huge wins. First, latency reduction. Your app just feels snappy and responsive to your users. Second, you get a massive improvement in throughput. By taking all that repetitive load off your database, your whole system can suddenly handle way more traffic. And third, cost efficiency. You're hitting your expensive database less, which means you're using fewer compute resources, which means your cloud bill goes down. At scale, caching isn't optional. It is absolutely essential.
Okay, so we're all on board with why we need caching. Now for the fun part, the how. It's best to think of all these different patterns and strategies as tools in your engineering toolbox. And just like any good craftsperson, knowing which tool to pull out for which job, well, that's what separates the pros.
So at a really high level, you have a few places you can stash your data. You've got an in-memory cache, which lives right inside your application's own memory. It's ridiculously fast, but it's siloed to just that one server. Then you have the big guns, distributed caches like Redis or Memcached. These are shared systems that all your services can talk to, and they're pretty much the standard for any modern architecture. And of course, you can cache things further out, like static files on a CDN, or even whole API responses right at your front door.
But the real meat of the decision comes down to how your app reads and writes data. The most common pattern you'll see is called cache-aside. That's where your application code is responsible for checking the cache, and if it misses, it grabs the data from the database and plops it in the cache for next time. But if you need rock-solid data consistency, something like write-through is your friend, because it writes to the cache and the database at the same time. And for systems that need insane write speeds, there's write-behind, which updates the cache instantly and then handles the database write in the background.
Now with a pattern like cache-aside, you can run into this classic, terrifying problem called a cache stampede. Just picture this. A super popular piece of data, say your homepage content, expires from the cache. And the next microsecond, thousands of requests all miss the cache at the exact same time. What do? They all go stampeding straight to your database to fetch the same thing. Your database just gets hammered and can easily fall over. The pro move here is to use patterns like locking to make sure only one of those requests actually goes to the database, while the others wait.
Of course, the whole point of a cache is that it's temporary, because, data changes. You don't want to serve old, stale information. To handle this, we use expiration policies. The simplest is time to live, or TTL. You just say, this data is good for 5 minutes, and poof, it's gone after that. But here's a crucial pro tip. When you're working at scale, you should add a little bit of randomness, or jitter, to your TTLs. This prevents thousands of keys from expiring at the exact same second and causing a mini stampede on your database.
Okay, let's level up. Everything we've talked about gets a lot more interesting and a lot more complicated when you're running a massive distributed system. We're not just trying to make one server faster anymore. We're trying to orchestrate a whole fleet of them. There's a very famous quote in computer science that says there are only 2 hard things: cache invalidation and naming things. And it's so true. Why is invalidation so hard? Because when a piece of data changes, you have to find and get rid of every single copy of it that might be hiding in caches all across your system. If you miss one, you get these bizarre bugs where one user sees the new data and another sees the old data. It's a nightmare to debug.
So how do we manage these massive caches? Well, it usually comes down to 2 key patterns. First, there's replication. This is all about high availability. We make multiple copies of our cache data, so if one server goes down, no big deal, we have a backup ready to go. Then there's sharding. This is all about scale. We split our data up across many machines, so no single server has to hold the entire massive data set.
In the real world, big systems use a mix of both.
And for that ultimate, top-tier performance, you can use multi-level caching. Think of it like this. Your app first looks for data in its own super-fast, local L1 in-memory cache. That's like checking a sticky note on your monitor. If it's not there, it then asks the shared, L2 distributed cache, which is like looking in your team's shared filing cabinet. Only if it misses both does it make that long, slow trip down to the library, which is your database. This keeps the most frequently used data as close as possible to the code that needs it.
Okay, that's a whole lot of theory. Let's ground this and talk about how this stuff is actually used in the real world. How do the production systems you use every single day put these ideas into practice?
First things first, you cannot fly blind. If you're not measuring, you're just guessing. You absolutely have to monitor the health of your cache. The big one is your hit ratio. That's your report card. It tells you what percentage of requests are being served by the cache. You also need to watch for things like evictions, which can tell you if your cache is too small, and of course, track your latency to prove that you're actually making things faster.
So let's take an e-commerce website. A product catalog with all the descriptions and prices doesn't change that often. That makes it a perfect candidate for a cache with a TTL of, say, 5 or 10 minutes. But a user's shopping cart? That needs to be 100% consistent and up to date. So for that, you'd use a write-through cache to make absolutely sure every item they add is saved immediately and reliably.
Well, what about your social media feed? Figuring out what to show you is actually a really expensive operation. So what do these platforms do? They pre-calculate feeds, or parts of feeds, for their most active users and then aggressively store them in L1 and L2 caches. That way, the moment you open the app, your feed is just there instantly. It's not magic, it's just really, really clever caching. So, we've gone through the why, the how, and the where. Let's pull this all together. Let's create a simple, actionable blueprint that you can take back to your own projects.
Here are the golden rules. 1. Measure everything. Know your hit rate. 2. Don't try to cache the entire world. Focus on your hotspots, the data that's accessed over and over again. 3. For those hotspots, use multi-level caching to get mind-blowing speed. And finally, this one is critical. Plan for failure. What happens if your cache goes down? Your app should still work even if it's a little slower. That's called graceful degradation, and it's a lifesaver.
So I'm going to leave you with one final thought, a call to action. Think about the system you're working on right now. What's that one piece of data, that one expensive query that gets hit all the time? What is the single hot item that you could put in a cache today and see a real, tangible improvement? Go find it. That's where you start.